Yeah, Israel, this is part and freedom. Um, there's a very rare legal culture because the law banned idolatry, but only four kings of the all the kings in Israel, minus David and Solomon, because those ones were even though Solomon also was a idolater, worshipped idols. Um, Majority of those kings worshipped idols except four kings. Minority of those four kings, and these four kings implemented the law of Moses. But the rest of the kings, majority of them, they were breaking the law. They had everywhere. Even Ahab. Ahab was a Jew, and his wife Jezebel was in charge of idol worship, and they even didn't remember their God Yahweh. So that's how liberal Israel was, and how they were so they never followed their laws. So I'm really careful not to say that um, these guys, that Judaism, West, especially Israel, ancient Israel, there was no freedom of religion. There was freedom of religion. It was not based on law. It was based on, you know, I still want to worship an idol. It looks fun. I think that's how the Israelis like, nah, what did Moses really mean? Come on, let's just do it. It looks good. So I think they like trying out things and doing things. So maybe that's what happened. But I know for Christianity and Islam, yes, those ones are countries whereby if the majority of the people are Christians, they will be stiff religion. And same to Islam. As I've told you, in Islam, even though they have dhimis, if you worship, you know, you will leave the country, or you can't live in that country. War between Pakistan and India. It's because Pakistan is a full Muslim country, whereas India has very many Hindus who worship idols, and they live with Muslims who are a minority. So even this is the reason why Idi Amin chased away Indians, because of his religion of Islam that allowed him, made him not respect the Indians, because they were idol worshippers. They worshipped idols. And in Islam, that is a religion that is not tolerated. So it is true to say Christianity and Islam will not really allow freedom of. Now, freedom of religious worship was established in Buddhist Maurya Empire of ancient India. And of course, India is a very liberal place. And the Romans tolerated most religions, including Judaism, and encouraged local subjects to continue worshipping their own gods. They did not, however, tolerate Christianity until it was legalized by Roman Emperor Galerius in 311. The Edict of Milan guaranteed freedom of religion in the Roman Empire until the Edict of Thessalonica, which outlawed all religions except Christianity. Can you see? Very weird edicts. So the Romans were very tolerant of most religions, even Judaism. And they encouraged everybody to worship any other god, local. It was a very clever way of colonizing people. They just said, continue do whatever you want to do. But they had a problem with Christianity. And I think Christianity's problem was that Christianity was a religion, it was a political religion that had a king in place called Jesus. So Rome did not want to hear that there's a king who is stronger than the Roman emperor coming to replace him. So because of that, they really they fought Christianity until 311, when Galerius said, you know what, let the Christians be. And then the weirdest thing happens in 380. They outlawed all religions except Christianity. Talk about karma. Okay, the Muslim world, we've talked about it, dhimis, And there's some religious pluralism. The theme is status here, and the adults pay the punitive jizya tax instead of zakat paid by the Muslim citizens. So the males who belong to non-Muslim communities had to pay a tax. And they don't get the same political rights, but they enjoy equality under the laws of property, contract, and obligation. India. Ancient Jews fleeing from persecution settled in India and never faced anti-Semitism. This is a very important point. And genetically, it has been found there are many Jews who are Indians. And yes, even Indian people who have Jewish blood, because they flew from persecution 2,500 years ago. Do you know how many years, which year that was? That was in the year around when the first captivity, the going to Babylon and Assyria. So when they were running away, they ran to as far as, and so allowed to practice their religion. Read, I think that's too much. A lot of reading. Good, very good. Yes, very. What I touched in the other video, you see, there was a lot of religious intolerance in America at the beginning, because they were persecuting Quakers. Can you imagine? They hanged a Quaker, Mary Dyer, for defying a Puritan law banning Quakers from the colony. Yes, these guys were so nasty. You know, they didn't even care. They are Christians, but they hang people. Any suspected person who could not clear himself was banished from the colony. A second offense carried a death penalty. That is a problem I have with Puritan theology. It's rigid. Very, very morally rigid. Oh my goodness. I don't know how they survived under Puritan life. It was hell. And the Pilgrims were not necessarily rigid morally. The Puritans were morally rigid. And so the Pilgrims of New England held radical Protestant disapproval of Christmas. Christmas observance was outlawed in Boston in 1659. The ban by the Puritans was revoked in 1681. However, it was not until that the celebrating Christmas became common in Boston of early American Christianity, or early Christian America. It is beautiful, beautifully sad, because many things happened in that time, all in the name of religion. Look at them. They persecuted many religious minorities, Catholics, and then later on Jews. And that's when the separation of state and church and state was implemented. Okay, we can talk about religion forever. And the International Religious Freedom Day is on October 27th, in commemoration of the Quakers executed by Puritans. Are you seeing that? For their religious beliefs. So sad. Yes, it is sad that people kill you for your religious beliefs. And it's because it's against the freedom of religion. Good. Let's run to the others. List of freedoms. Freedom of expression, of course, we have discussed this one. Right to peaceful assembly. freedom of assembly, and in freedom of assembly, sometimes used interchangeably with the freedom of association, is the individual right or ability of people to come together and collectively express, promote, pursue, and defend their collected or shared views, ideas. The right to freedom of association is a recognized political right and civil liberty. Excuse me. We look at freedom of association on its own, so I won't talk about it right now. So assembly and association may be used to distinguish between the freedom to assemble public places and association. In of assembly is often used in context of association is some people may not want to associate with a particular this member from being. Of course, this law in a principle of inclusivity. I think what this inclusivity national settings make a black gay straight of the nation country can offer. You make a like what happened to the Black Lives Matter movement, what happened to the movements, the many in America and the LGBT. Find somebody, people, and they may harm your liver of your men. They may have a right to tell them to leave ill their present delivery of that message. Now, however, this concept does not now apply due to the Supreme Court's ruling in Christian Legal Martinez. And it says it was required of their status or beliefs. And so that's the reason is because Constitution requires to apply limited public forums applies. Thus, the court comes point usual condition on this and include condition, meaning every harm. It means that this recognize somebody's views, It should happen in very many, even religious centers, because in religious centers, even atheists in church, and if you find an atheist in church and you're a church that doesn't want it may not be right for you to chase them because in fact, if you are a church, meaning you are an inclusive space, you invite everybody. You can come there. So it is really, that's what they have even said about the college. This college was inclusive. It invited everybody. They said any student can participate and seek leadership regardless of status or beliefs. As we said, there are some countries in the world, especially Islamic countries, if you're not a Muslim, you cannot be president. Other countries, and so I prefer that system. Religion doesn't matter. So as we've been seeing, there are very many limitations to the freedoms, and there's also freedom of association has its limitations. The white supremacists have suffered when they try to associate together with an aim of attacking black people in America. So there's discussing, and then now you can see organized labor, the labor unions, and democracy and civil society. They are all based on the freedom of association. And freedom of association is also a famous term in the libertarian literature. The concept of community part of an organization whose values or culture are closely related to one's preferences or in a more basic level to associate with any individual or group of persons one's choosing. So, as you know, libertarians, they are notorious for absolute freedom, and they value freedom of association a lot. And now we have right-wing libertarians, and we also have freedom of association is merely the extension of right to determine with whom to associate in one's personal life. Yes, this is what said. In good manner, opposed to homosexuality, may not enjoy associating with gay people. In both instances, a person is voluntarily deciding with whom to associate based on volition. Libertarians believe that realistic notions, individual human beings already choose whom they would like to associate with based on a variety of reasons. I think I can agree with them on the fact that associate with whomever you want. That's what I've said. You can even decide to be in an group, all female group, you know, because that is our freedom as human beings. Good. So libertarians also believe that where unions employ coercive violent tactics such as behaviors would in breach of libertarian. So basically, let's summarize. We have said, listed the freedom that beings have, and movement discuss this in depth, and what is happening is give very much freedom of movement, others do, and that's why there's a lot of problems in the refugee